last-minute shake-up at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning, Ryan. Is your pay
And staying in front of the day isn't always as
Thanks,
simple
Ryan.
as 1,
What's
2,
up?
3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
What's the latest on creatine?
I'm going to get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
You're listening to the Peak Physique Podcast with Andre Adams on the NASM Podcast Network.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Peak Physique Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Adams, NASM Master Trainer and IFBB Physique Olympian. And you know, I just got back from an amazing trip. My good friend Ashley Kaltwasser, Miss Bikini, 3-time Olympia champ, out in the country of Kazakhstan. And you know, we hosted a great fitness seminar there, and we're also able to both compete and do some really cool things. And now that I'm back, we've got those holidays approaching. And one thing I wanted to share with you guys are some personal tips and experience as both an athlete and a coach on how to best balance your physique goals throughout the holidays. You know, that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people ask me or they struggle with is dieting through the holidays for numerous reasons, right? Sometimes it's because of the vacation and not having, you know, the accessibility to the gym or just breaking the routine. A lot of times it's the nutrition, right? We've got some really good meals coming up between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So lots of family get-togethers and, you know, maybe going out, social time with the friends. So that's what this episode is really about, is how do we balance some life goals with some physique goals, but still manage to keep our prep and our physiques on point. The first category I want to start with is probably the most important, right? It's going to be that diet. Nutrition is always king. You guys have heard me preach it over and over on this podcast, right? If we have to rank order what the biggest levers are for our physique goals, always going to be diet, nutrition, number 1, training, number 2, supplementation, number 3. Now, the beauty is when you marry these 3 together, you get this accelerated result, right? 1 + 1 suddenly equals 3. But if we have to start with just one thing, we're going to start with diet. And the first thing I can say there is just really staying consistent, right? So focus on pre-planning your meal prep. If you know you have a trip coming up, or you know that you're going to be, you know, hosting an event at home and you're going to have some extra, you know, food that's certainly off your plan, make sure that you at least are prepared. So don't stop meal prepping during the holidays. That's one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of people make, not just athletes, but people trying to just, you know, maintain their physique and not put on that extra 10 to 15 pounds of fluff throughout the holidays. Prioritizing your proteins and veggies first. So when you do have those big meals, make sure that you're at least starting with protein, fill up on, you know, salad, vegetables, and things that are, you know, you've got your calorie dense foods, but you've also got things that aren't adding a lot of, you know, impact to your blood sugar and your insulin and causing you to hold a lot of unnecessary body fat or water, etc. So prioritizing proteins and veggies first. And then another good tip too, especially on Thanksgiving, because if you guys are anything like me, you're probably going back for seconds and thirds. I mean, let's be honest, right? If you're eating mom's cooking and, you know, she's got the turkey and the stuffing, you're probably going to be looking for that round 2. But one thing I can suggest is drink a full glass of water, wait about 20 minutes, and then see if you're actually still hungry. A lot of times it's just a mental thing. You know, my dad used to have a saying that your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And a lot of times if you just wait that 20 minutes and settle down, your body actually isn't as hungry as you think you are, right? So try implementing that. Try to organize your social gatherings, some of those social gatherings that maybe aren't centered around food. I think it's just, you know, tradition maybe that we center all of our family get-togethers or social gatherings around some sort of meal, right? Where they're hosting, we're cooking, we're going out to eat. But in some form or fashion, there's food or drinks involved. So just one suggestion, you know, maybe try to think of some non-food related activities Maybe it's a fitness, something where you're burning calories, right? You're going bowling, you're going axe throwing, whatever it might be. But that's another good tip that has helped me kind of stay on track throughout the holidays, and it's fun. Try to organize those social gatherings. The next thing I would say is prioritizing hydration. So a lot of times we also fall off the bandwagon getting our water and our electrolytes in. I've got a saying, it's dilution is the solution. So when we have a lot of extra calories, a lot of extra fats and triglycerides, a lot of extra carbohydrates and sodium, dilution is the solution. We're going to help flush some of that out and rebalance your water, your fluid balance. So best recommendation there is just continue to drink your 6 to 8 glasses of water or more per day, 16 to 24 ounces extra before those big meals. Again, it's a feeling, right? So when we think about satiety or satisfaction and fullness, if you have that extra water before you consume your meal, a lot of times you're going to feel too full and you're going to eat less. So just little tips and tricks that have helped keep myself and a lot of my athletes on track. And then always be prepared with extra sources of healthy food. Keep them on standby, especially if you guys are traveling. So if you go back and watch my episodes behind the scenes in Hawaii or Tokyo or Kazakhstan, we've always got some extra foods that we're packing whenever we're traveling out of town, right? So, it could be protein powders, meal replacement bars. You could have almonds, cashews, some kind of oat bar, but basically clean sources of carbs, proteins, and fats, your macronutrients. Always keep those on standby. You might get stranded. You might just be in a situation where there's no access to healthy food for a period of time, and that'll help get you through those moments. One thing that I will definitely say has helped me that even I struggle with is you got to put those sweets and cheats out of sight and try to keep your prepped meals, ideally prepped meals that where you're prioritizing your proteins, fruits, veggies, clean sources of starch or carbohydrates. Keep those handy, right? You want those stacked up in the fridge or freezer where you can just take a meal out, pop it in the microwave, and keep yourself on point. What you don't want is a whole bunch of sweets and treats and leftovers sitting around in your face, staring you down every time you walk through the kitchen. So I have to do the same thing as a dad with my kids with all their snacks anyways. But I always say add friction to the things you want less of, right? So these things that are causing us to gain the weight, let's put those way at the back of the pantry, all the way up at the top behind the Tupperware, right? So that it's a little bit inconvenient to get to. And let's make it really easy to get to the proper food and hydration that we need. But, don't let it stress you out either. Again, this is all about balance and sustainability. And in order to adhere to the plan, it's got to be enjoyable. So make sure that you indulge for a great dinner on those big holidays, but keep it within reason and keep it to a dinner. Don't let that dinner become a day and that day become a week, and then you just spiral out of control. So have a little bit of self-control and self-restraint. Accountability check-ins with the coach, or even just jotting down a food log can help you really take a look at how much food you're consuming. Now that we've talked a little bit on diet and, the main nutrition goals and behaviors, let's go a little deeper. We're going to talk about my favorite supplements to help just kind of keep you on track and help keep you from going off the rails during the holiday season. Probably number one on my list, I'm going to say every athlete and everyone who is really training with intensity, putting a lot of stress and strain or stimulus on the body. Most of us at some point will struggle with a bit of insulin resistance, right? We're just taxing those receptors to the point where they begin to fatigue. So one thing I'd like to add would be GDA, glucose disposal agent, berberine, which is one of the ingredients in GDA, or metformin, 500 milligrams. Any of these class of supplements will help improve your insulin sensitivity. And it's going to help, especially with the GDA. There's other ingredients like ALA and a few others that will help optimize glucose disposal. So we're taking that glucose, the blood sugar, and we're actually inhibiting storing that as body fat. We're slowing the absorption in the small intestine. And then we're also taking those carbohydrates and we're pushing them into the muscles, right? We want that muscle fullness for bodybuilding or for, just general aesthetic physique outcomes. So GDA is one of my favorite all-time supplements, but again, You could use 500 milligrams berberine 2 to 3 times a day with your carb meals, or metformin 500 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day as well. Now, there's also alternatives to these, obviously, like the once a week injectables, a classification of medications called GLP-1s. And then you've also got dual GLP-1s. But specifically, we're thinking, we're talking about medications like Ozempic, which is semaglutide, or tirzepatide, which is, in my opinion, a step up, right? Dual GLP-1, it's also going to have an anti-inflammatory response. But ultimately, it's about glucose management and improving your insulin resistance. So just some options there that will help, because I'm pretty sure if you're like me, you're going to be having some extra carbs and fats and all kinds of good stuff around the holidays. So you want to make sure you're managing and utilizing that to your advantage. Number 2, I'm going to go with a combination here. We're going to go with CLA and L-carnitine. So let's say CLA about 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram, and then L-carnitine 1,500 milligrams if you're taking it orally, or you can do 200 to 400 milligrams injectable intramuscular, which is also very effective, honestly the most effective form. But either one works great. These supplements are going to help naturally metabolize lipids in the bloodstream. They're going to help you inhibit some fat storage. And then also there's a nutrient partitioning benefit. So it's going to help you dispose of the glucose, dispose of the fatty acids a little bit more efficiently. And again, these are relatively inexpensive natural supplements that will help keep you on point and avoid storing all that extra belly fat that nobody wants around the holidays, right? Guys, if you are just joining us, welcome to the show. This is another great episode of the Peak Physique Podcast, powered by NASM. Today, we are talking about how to best manage your physique throughout the holidays. We talked on a little bit of macronutrition and dieting best practices, and we're doing a little bit deeper dive here on supplements. So we've covered GDA, metformin, we've talked about some GLP-1s, CLA and L-carnitine. I'm going to add in choline and inositol. And usually you can buy these compounded together, right? 500 milligrams of each. And again, just another quick hitter for fatty acid metabolism, and then improving your insulin sensitivity and glucose disposal. So there's also some central nervous system benefits to these, but these are great ones for anyone, whether you're an athlete or you're just a lifestyle, person looking for optimizing weight management and ultimately just looking better and feeling better. Choline inositol is definitely a great 1-2 punch to add. And then the last one I'll leave you with is really chromium picolinate. Chromium comes in many different forms, but ultimately we're looking to support the receptors and pancreas function. Now, we're going to support blood sugar metabolism and insulin sensitivity. And athletes, honestly, are going to need this anyway, as we just talked about. Anytime you have a scenario where somebody's training very strenuously, very frequently, high volumes throughout the week, more than likely you're going to have a bit of metabolic stress, which leads to the insulin resistance. And this chromium picolinate is going to be one of your best tools to, again, help avoid fat storage from things like glucose, and just really help manage the way your body is using insulin and glucose. Next thing I'm going to dive into is really the training and cardio. So we talked about diet being king. Diet includes micro and macronutrition. And now we're going to talk about best practices for training and cardio to keep you on point. Now, I'm going to say it again over and over. Consistency is king. A lot of times when people are on vacation, they kick their feet up and it's like, hey, I'm on vacation, not going to work out at all. And I think that's the exact opposite mindset that you need to have, right? Fitness, health, wellness, this is a lifestyle. Whether you're a competitive athlete or you're just looking to maintain, a healthy physique and your overall health, you got to be consistent, right? So don't take like weeks off at a time, especially if you're also not dieting. That's a compounding effect. It can really throw you off the rails. So for me, consistency is king. I'm always going to have fun when I'm on vacation or it's the holidays, but focus less on perfection and focus more on executing those daily, weekly micro goals, right? We call them behavioral goals that are going to keep you on track. I'll give you some examples, right? Some behavioral goals that I would cue my athletes on during any week, especially vacation week. Are you eating a quality meal high in protein every 2.5 to 4 hours? Are you getting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep? Are you drinking 3 to 4 liters of water a day? Are you maintaining at least 5,000 steps of walking activity a day? Right? These are the types of things that we're looking at, making it to the gym 3, 4, 5 days a week versus you're in the gym and I'm worrying about, having the best workout of my life because I just ate 2 Thanksgiving dinners, or I'm trying to, set a PR. That can actually add stress and make you feel overwhelmed when you're on vacation or trying to enjoy the holidays. So again, just focus on being consistent, do those little behavioral goals that are going to add up to really big results later, and just try to stay, 85, 90% on track with your training regimen. Another thing that I highly recommend, this is like so time tested, and you'll hear it from other top coaches in the industry too. When you struggle, especially around the holidays or vacation time, it can kind of throw your schedule out of whack. Try training early in the morning whenever possible. Get it done, get it checked off the list. It's less opportunity for you to get tired, get busy, procrastinate, and then, ultimately not get a good workout in later in the day. So try to wake up early in the morning when you can, knock that workout out, and then go on about your day. Keep your training times flexible, right? That's going to help you accommodate travel, holidays, gym accessibility. And of course, always have a plan. So depending on what you're doing this holiday season, make sure to scope out the gyms or hotel gyms in that area before traveling so that you've got a solid plan of how you're going to achieve or maintain your training and cardio and just help keep you on point. Now, when all else fails, there's going to be times when it just doesn't work out, right? You don't have access to a gym and maybe you're, visiting family for a week. In those scenarios, focus on things like your daily step count and home workouts. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. I have actually done home workouts or hotel workouts that have got me more sore than when I do my heavy lifting days in the gym, because it's a bit of a shock for your body. So don't be afraid to bring some bands. Maybe there's some small dumbbells, and do some body weight exercise, some, HIIT workouts from home, and get creative. In fact, you might find that it's enjoyable and you have a lot of fun. So mix it up when all else fails, get that step count and those home workouts in. And then when possible, one thing that's always helped me, especially if I'm prepping through the holidays, which for all you guys that have ever competed in the Arnold Classic, you're normally prepping at least through Christmas and New Year's in those scenarios. So one thing that'll help you when you're prepping through those holidays is maintaining your fasted cardio. It's going to be one of your best tools, especially before, or let's say leading up, the days leading up to a really big holiday meal, right? You're going to have a huge holiday feast. Maybe you got 2 or 3 households or families that you're going to visit on Christmas. Make sure that whole week long, I'm going to be doing fasted cardio before and after, right? Just to make sure that my body isn't holding on to too much additional visceral fat or body fat that could be avoided simply by increasing my activity and my energy output as I'm increasing how much food I'm consuming, right? So definitely make sure you're putting those calories to use. Fasted cardio when possible, especially around those big holiday treats. Even some very light evening walks just for circulation and to expend a few more calories can be a good thing if you're in a warmer climate. Not always possible. If you live here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, you're probably not going for walks in the middle of December. But definitely try to stay as consistent as possible, and then set a sleep schedule and stick to it. That's another big one that I think people just throw their whole routine out of whack. They're staying up late, they're waking up late, right, where they sleep in. They miss their opportunity for that morning workout or cardio, and then they go right back into the bad habit, right, of continuing to eat the sweets and the extras from the holiday. So make sure that you have a pretty solid routine that's going to be your framework and your foundation to set you up for a successful holiday season without gaining all that extra body fat. Remember, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is remember progress, not perfection. I don't want you guys to be stressed out or feel overwhelmed around the holidays. So make sure to have fun. Take care of your emotional health, right? The holidays and vacation is an opportunity to deload some of that external stress and really just reset for, the coming week, or in this case, the coming year. So focus on having fun, enjoying that family time, but make sure you have a plan and you make smart, healthy decisions about food and training. Guys, for anything else, you guys got questions, you guys got topics that you'd like me to cover, feel free to reach out. You can contact me on Instagram at AndreAdams_official, or you can email me at trainingbydre@gmail.com. And then, of course, for inquiries with coaching or follow-up questions, you can reach out via my website at AndreAdamsofficial.com. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Peak Physique Podcast. I hope you enjoy this holiday season and you continue to develop your physique at the same time. We'll see you back next time, guys.